What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. It has finished Tottenham 2, Wycombe 2 in the first of two double headers today. Back-to-back double headers, Tottenham against Wycombe, Luton against Tottenham up next at 3 o'clock. So the lineup was Brandon Austin in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Davis left back, a back two of Romero and Vuskovic, Sarr and Bergvall in the double pivot with, it's Bergvall and Abbott in the double pivot with Sarr a bit further forward. We had Sonny on the left, we had Odebear on the right, and we had Richarlison up top. And I thought, the first half was definitely a lot better than the second half. I think we can safely say that. I think the first half, I thought we were playing some decent stuff. The ball was on the majority of their side of the pitch, and we were asking questions without creating too many clear-cut chances. Got a really nice goal through Pape Matar to put us sort of 1-0 up. But I always felt there was a bit of a lack of cutting edge and incisiveness from our play.
Yeah, I think we were trying to press quite aggressively. I think you could see that it was a much more aggressive press than the game against Reading, where I felt we were kind of at times in a mid-block, at times in a high press. This time we were much more a bit for full throttle, I felt, on this occasion. And I think it was working quite a bit, forcing Wycombe into a lot of mistakes and forcing a lot of turnovers, which led to Odebear getting in down the right quite a bit. You had Porro looking to break the lines from deep. You had a lot of quick transitions. Didn't make the most of them, I think. A few times, Son had it, looking to take people on down the left-hand side and failing quite badly. Richarlison wasting a few opportunities as well. He had some chances. Crosses came in the box. He skewed a few shots wide. He missed a couple of headers as well. I thought Odebear looked our brightest attacker on the right-hand side. Yeah. He was the one kind of forcing the issue and looking to make things happen. But apart from when we were kind of forcing chances from the press, I did feel like we lacked a bit of guile when Wycombe were in a bit of a low block. We didn't ask enough questions, maybe not taking kind of enough shots, not really creating enough opportunities. Clearly, I think the main goal is, to regain that fitness. I think maybe that's why Frank had them so aggressively pressing for that first half, because there was a big drop-off in the second half.
Definitely, yeah.
And we allowed Wycombe just to gain a bit of control in the game and allowed them back in the game. And obviously, we got the opening goal. Really nice play between Porro, Odebear, cutting inside. Good shot on his left foot. Tipped wide by the keeper and Sarr following up the rebound. It was good reward for what was a good start from Tottenham. And then we obviously let them back in it with a really poor goal to concede, to be honest. The what's his name? Quinada, I think it is. The Wycombe guy. Quiterna. So he cuts inside on the left, or 25 yards out, shot right straight at Austin. And he's fumbled it really badly.
Yeah, look, 9 times out of 10, he's keeping it out of the back of the net, isn't it? It's just one of those things like you know what they say, get it out of your system in pre-season. And look, the reality is, right, we can all sit here and criticise the performance, which, probably is worth criticising because it wasn't the greatest performance. But ultimately, these things are just a training exercise, a fitness exercise to get more minutes in the legs. And I think a lot of the players, the first team players, got a good 75 minutes in the legs today. And I think it will do them the world of good. You look at Bergvall in the game that he had last week. I thought it was a pretty poor 45 minutes from him last week, and you could definitely see it was probably good to get those 45 minutes in the legs, because I thought he looked a lot better today. Yeah,
he definitely looked sharper. Passing was a lot better, less sloppy, more turns on the ball as well, appreciation for where the space was. So I liked what I saw from Bergvall. He was definitely a step up from last week. Vuskovic and Romero developing a nice little partnership together at the back as well. They seem to both don't mind the ball to feet, both like to play the ball forward. Definitely when Vuskovic was playing with Romero, it seemed as though Vuskovic was the more aggressive one. He was one stepping in, and when the ball was being played long, he was the one kind of going for it, whereas Romero was hanging back a bit, which is obviously different to the dynamic Romero has with Van der Ven. But I think Vuskovic did quite well, heading a lot of balls away, crosses away. And you had Romero, I think, doing what Romero does, I think, on the ball, phenomenal. Just some really lovely passes into midfield, in between the lines. I think he was doing some really good stuff as well. I think Porro first half was really good. Second half, not as good. Was caught defensively out for the goal as well. A couple of times during the game, he was kind of caught out defensively. But I thought on the ball, the quality he brings is just there for all to see. I think Odebear was getting found in behind time and time again. There was that one beautiful long pass from the halfway line where Odegaard was through on goal, just couldn't take it in his stride, but that comes from the vision and quality from Porro. So that was really good. Davis, I thought last week Davis was quite good, but this week not as much.
The thing is, from last week, he had to save us in a few defensive situations. Didn't really have to do that today.
Yeah, I thought he was better on the ball last week, to be honest.
Fair.
Than in this game. But I guess the really worrying thing is Sonny, if that's the big question of this game, because again, like against Reading, just seemed off the pace. And it wasn't just like, there are moments where he's getting the ball and you're thinking, okay, take this guy on, and he doesn't do it, or he does and he fails. But there's just simple things like timing of passes, playing people in, simple passes that are leading astray. And there are things that even when he's not playing well, he would do like normally. And at the moment, he's just not even able to do the simple things.
I feel like it's really hard for him to get past this man at this moment in time. I'm not sure what that is. Like, we're talking about League One defenders, you know what I mean? This should be easy for him. Even like at the start of pre-season, it should be easy for him. We're talking about Son Heung-min, you know? We're talking about an unbelievable football player. He's struggling to get past his man. And when he actually does on the odd occasion, then you're right, then his passing is letting him down completely. I remember like every single time the ball was going out onto that left-hand side, the move was breaking down. It was really frustrating. All our joy was coming down the right-hand side with Pedro Porro and Odegaard. And look, when Wycombe did score, it was completely against the run of play, and you know we could have been 1 or 2 up. We could have been 2 up at that stage, and it was a shame that we weren't. I would say as well, Richarlison was really frustrating in my opinion. There was a few times he had moments in the box, particularly in the first 20 minutes, where you know just flashed it, didn't he? And it scooed wide or went over, and it was just, frustrating. I think him and Son were the 2 most frustrating players on our pitch. I think everyone else, were pretty decent. It's worth noting, which we didn't mention, Bentancur was named in the starting lineup, but pulled out through illness, and George Abbott came in. And I thought George Abbott really impressed.
Yeah, he was one of the more impressive ones on the day. I think the energy he showed, was really great. I think when it came to that counter press we were we had on show, I thought he was one of the ones being the most aggressive and leading it and forcing the most mistakes, winning the ball back quite a lot. And he was very busy, and I think looked tidy on the ball as well. Obviously, I don't think he was like anything outstanding on the ball, that is, but I thought he looked tidy, didn't make too many mistakes. And I think he was playing probably the deepest of all the midfielders. And I think defensively showed quite a bit in this game and was timing his tackles really well, made some really good interceptions. And I thought, he was definitely very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
So half-time come, you're thinking Spurs are the better team here, but we're still not looking great, but we're definitely the better team, right? It's 1-1. Unlucky to go in 1-1. And the second half comes, there was like a 5-minute break for half-time, and they just don't come out with the same kind of energy. It just seemed like the fitness kind of catching up to them already after 45 minutes. They go 2-1 up 5 minutes into the second half, which was a really decent goal, to be fair. And Wycombe were the better side for the opening 20 minutes of the second half. After they get that goal, they're still, pressing the issue. Spurs make 2 kind of changes. They bring on Thompson, they bring on Iro. And Thompson kind of just sparked the game into life again for Spurs. I thought Thompson was a live wire down that left-hand side. I'd never heard of him before, to be brutally honest with you. And he comes on, and he's looked like a big handful, an exciting player, knows how to take on his man, and knows how to find a pass as well. Yeah,
definitely made an impact, Thompson. Definitely showed people who he is, because he was fearless when he came on, taking people on, made more dribbles than Son did during most of the game, to be honest, with in the little time he had. Linked up well for the goal with Sarr, did a 1-2, then pulled it back to Sarr, and obviously he buried it with a nice finish. And he was really impressive, so really like to see more of him. But you're right, I think...
He did that 3 minutes onto coming on. Like, within 3 minutes, he'd already done more than Son did in the first, 60 minutes.
Yeah, he was impressive. And that second half was a difficult watch at times, because it seemed as though we completely let the game drift away from us. We were completely dropped off. I think the pressing was very intense in that first half, so maybe it was natural that there was going to be a bit of drop-off in the second half, but we barely kind of created a chance in for the first 20 minutes. Wycombe's goal was good from their perspective, but from a Tottenham perspective, too easily getting down the left, too easily pulling it back, and the guy was completely free on the edge of the box. Good luck, credit to the Wycombe player, because it was a great finish on his left foot, roof of the net. Austin can't do much about that one. He made a bad mistake in the first half. He can't do much about that one. But the goal was too easy. And that, Frank will be disappointed as well. The midfield was nowhere to be seen for that goal. Should be getting goal side of the Wycombe winger. So that was really disappointing. But yeah, I think once those subs came on, gave us a bit of a new kind of energy. We got back in the game, got to 2-2, and then we started with the better side again. And obviously, with 15 minutes to go, basically all the academy players came on. So also you can't really judge the first team based on that, albeit there were some little things you can talk about. But for 75 minutes, yeah, I think apart from the fact it was good for the fitness, good run out, not much to shout about in terms of performance. In terms of what you can learn from it, in terms of how Frank's going to play, I would say still a lot to work. When it comes to in possession, moving the ball quicker, getting chances, creating chances and things like that. I think our pressing, that was positive. That was something to be interested about, because I thought that was something we did quite well. And also the press baiting that we did an okay job of it. Not the best, but I think you could see what they were trying to do for large parts of the game. Set pieces weren't too much effect today, unfortunately. Weren't great, which we were better against Reading.
There was one of them, they just completely fumbled, didn't they, with that short corner with Porro and Son, and they just completely messed it up. But, yeah, look, it wasn't one for the neutral today, was it? It was a completely dire game of football. Hopefully the one at 3 o'clock is going to be a lot better. In terms of the kids that came on with about 15 minutes to go, we had Kramich, Olusesi, Hall, Williams Barnett, Pele, Casanova, Ashcroft and Lahane. And I would say a few of them really stood out. First of all, Pele looks like an absolute man-mountain at the back. He really does. You're looking at Williams Barnett. I thought, it was very few times he was managed to get on the ball, but when he did, he looked so exciting, man. He was taking it past players at will the few moments that he got it. He looks like a real, star in the making.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I think he had one run. He won a free kick on the edge of the box. So that was really good. Everyone was very excited to see him. I was very impressed. I think Thompson continued his good stuff, good work. When the kids came on, he had that one moment. He cuts inside from the edge of the box, goes past a couple of players, and just about the shot goes wide, which is a shame. I was very impressed with the likes of Olusesi. He was good. Tyrese Hall had a good cameo as well.
Yeah.
Which the hype has died down about him. But a year ago, a lot of people were saying he's a very, very impressive talent. He was quite impressive, I thought, when he came on. Casanova at centre-back as well. So, yeah, some little look. It was only 15 minutes. But they are playing League One opposition. And, you expect them, Wycombe, at that point to be better. And I thought we still maintained a bit of dominance. And we did quite well. So, well played to the youngsters. And, yeah, the youngsters were good. And I think the first team, that was good. It was okay, I would say, for parts. I don't think it was anything too impressive or exciting, but I think it'll be good. I think the players will benefit from today's game.
Look at Porro as well today. The differences between today and what we saw last week from Porro. Two very different kind of roles in the team, where today he was the more kind of pressed up high fullback. Last week he was the one that was sitting deeper with the doggy going higher. And I thought he did both to a really good level.
Yeah, I think he can do both. We know he's got those qualities in the final third to make the difference, and I think when he hangs back, he's got the quality to show off his passing range as well. So, yeah, I think maybe Frank, I think he probably does things with a purpose, and maybe when he's deciding on the lineups, does he think, all right, last week I paired Porro with the doggy, but now I want to see how Porro does when I put him further up. So, look, at the end of the day, he's testing things out, isn't he, Frank? Who works better where?
Yeah.
And as much as last week, like we saw what we saw in terms of how we set up, this week it was a bit different. I felt Odobert and Son were both a bit wider, and I felt it wasn't like one tucked in and one wide. It was like both seemed to be wide. I felt the fullbacks were inverting a bit more, actually, a bit similar to
Porro
what
definitely
last
was,
season.
yeah.
So I think Frank's definitely trying a few different things. I reckon if you looked at the setup, we still kind of built with a back three and Davis was still tucking in. And so we still kind of built up similar there. But you didn't see too much of Son being central. You saw Son and I thought Odegaard quite wide for a lot of the game. So I thought that was quite interesting. And I think, yeah, he's testing things out. He's saying, okay, if I put Porro further forward as that kind of fullback, does he work better than where he's hanging back? What about Udogie? I think it'll be interesting to see what he does with Udogie and Spence later. Is he going to have them both flying forward? Is he going to have one of them hanging back or one of them not? Because they were both last week the fullback who was flying forward. So he's going to have to either make a decision or maybe he tries a system where they're both flying forward and test that out. So I think he's trying new things and he's seeing what works and what doesn't. And I think that's good. Well, it's very different to Ange, isn't it? Whereas Ange in pre-season kind of, he was very much, this is a style, this is what we're implementing, and like he's not there to try new things, he's there to implement his style, whereas it seems as though Frank has come into his pre-season trying different things and then seeing what's going to work best.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best way to go. You know, you want to find a system that really suits the players instead of forcing the players to suit the system. I think that's always the best way to go. So, look, good to get some more minutes in the legs, in about, what is it, an hour and 45 minutes time as kickoff at Luton. I'll be making my way to the game very, very shortly. You'll have Amir in the studio to replace me. But yeah, 2-2. I think some good performances, some poor performances, but the main thing is just about fitness at this point of pre-season.